Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 196th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I put onto YouTube. For a change, I thought I'd put on a weekday battle here, a midweek battle. So as you know, usually I only put on a battle Saturday. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Sith Lord. Now, Sith Lord was a great player of his day, but he hasn't played RTW for about 8 years now. And he's come back onto RTW last weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how this player from that many years ago does on the modern day battlefield. As I say, he was a great player of his day, so it'd be interesting to see exactly what happens. And then we have Brotherhood member Uther, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. I think there's a couple of things just to look at Uther's army here. One of them is he's bought the old school Roman armoured cavalry general. If you notice the banners above that unit is fully upgraded. So that armoured general unit's pretty tough in its own right, but fully upgraded really makes those troops extremely difficult to kill. It's a fast-moving unit, and used properly, it can be very disruptive to the enemy team. The other unit I thought we'd have a look at is his Samnite Gladiators. Very rare to see Samnite Gladiators brought to the 31k battlefield, but Uther does this from time to time, so it'll be interesting to see how well that unit does. So there's Uther's army there. And then our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction as well. So there's our team there. A lot of experience there, and it'll be interesting to see how well we do against the team we're facing, which is a very good team. Should be a good one for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have HOS member Zero, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. And then we have BH member, Brotherhood member Gladius, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. If you notice that Gladius has also bought the old school Roman general as well, armored general as well. So that should be interesting to see what happens there. And then their final teammate is Brotherhood member Terrible Turk, who has bought the Rome Brutio faction. So there's the other team. As you can see, a lot of great players there, and this should be, as I said earlier, a good one to watch. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see that our team has made some very aggressive movements here towards the enemy team. I think we agreed that at the beginning of the battle that we would become quite aggressive. And as you can see, both Uther and Sith Lord has moved forward towards the enemy lines there. If you look between Brotherhood member Terrible Turk and Sith Lord, you'll see a lot of pilers being exchanged there. If you look closer, you can see it's almost raining pilers. There's so many pilers being exchanged between these two armies. So that'll be causing a lot of casualties in the forward piler shield units there. And if you notice that Sith Lord's formation has got like a mini army on the side of his formation. And if you notice that Terrible Turk is bringing like a small counter army out there to try and counter that army there. Meanwhile, over on our left here, you can see that if you like, I'm moving towards Uther's rear there, as we're expecting an attack from the enemy Julio units over to our left there. And you can see here's Uther using his Samnite Gladiators there, backed up with a cavalry charge as well into the enemy forward units. They've managed to rout one of the enemy units there, but could you see all the pilers there flowing in? I think Uther might have lost some of his cavalry there due to the amount of enemy pilers that were thrown at his unit then. As you can see here, the enemy Brutii, Terrible Turk, is bringing his army. If you notice, he hasn't got his army so much in depth, but has made it quite a long army, if you look at the formation there, to try and turn our flank. You can see that Samnite Gladiator unit attacking that urban cohort unit that's in Testudo. As I say, you very, very rarely see Sam Knight Gladiators brought to the 31k battlefield. In fact, I would go as far as to say probably Uther is possibly the only 31k player to bring that unit to the 31k battlefield. Now, as we said at the beginning, we were hoping to be quite aggressive and attacking in our tactics, but if you notice, I think now looking at this, looking at our three armors, we kind of almost gone defensive a little bit now, allowing the enemy to kind of dictate exactly what's happening. Remember what we said in other battle videos: if you attack, if you keep pushing forward, the enemy has to respond to you and kind of dance to your tune. But if you stay defensive, then obviously you hand the initiative to the enemy. So you can see here Sith Lord moving his infantry out here in an aggressive tactical move. As I say, Sith Lord is a great player of his day, a very tactical player. But as I say, he hasn't played in about 8 years. Right, if you see here, can you see Uther is charging into the forward units of the enemy Scipio units that are in front of him there. That would have caused a lot of casualties, and I think he's routed at least one unit there with that cavalry hit. If you notice that his the allies, their Julio allies cavalry's coming over in a counter cavalry attack there, but just as Uther pulls back, the Julio cavalry general decides to pull that cavalry attack back as well. You see I've got my cavalry at the back there ready to strike where needed. It looked like there was a Scipio cavalry charge coming into my ally there, so I was going to charge into that, but then the Scipio general decided to pull his cavalry back. As you can see here on our right flank, you can see that Brotherhood member Terrible Turk, who's on the enemy team, is attacking Sith Lord's SBQR army there. But I think Sith Lord is counter-attacking with his infantry, and if you notice, I'm throwing my cavalry in there, and bang, as that cavalry hits, rout some of the enemy Brutii units there. And if you notice what I've done with my cavalry, I've charged in, routed the units that I wanted to, and now I'm pulling my cavalry back. Kind of pulling them back, probably with the view to charge back in to get the full cavalry charge bonus. Okay, let's pause again for us to take stock of exactly what's happened. Over on our left here, you can see that we haven't actually got into combat yet. Seems a bit quiet over there, although a couple of the Julio cavalry has charged into the flank of Uther's forward units there. As you can see, Uther and the enemy Scipio army are skirmishing at the front, but at the moment the main combat, the main action of this battle is over on our right flank. Remember, on the right flank here, the enemy are the green Brutii, and our ally and my cavalry are the SBQR, the purple SBQR there. If you notice, I'm charging my cavalry in, as well as Sith Lord advancing with his infantry at the same time onto that Brutii infantry. As you can see, the Terrible Turk charging his cavalry into the attacking SBQR infantry there.
General is dead. His men know their doom approaches.
But he didn't rout any of the engaged units there. Right, if you can see here, we actually started to rout a lot of the enemy Brutii army there. If you notice, with my cavalry and Sith Lord's infantry, aggressive infantry tactics there, we've managed to rout a lot of the enemy Brutii army, as you can see. And over here on our left, if you notice that I've run my infantry in, we've put in the right units of my formation in with Uther's army there to help try and protect our front there from a big attack from the enemy cavalry and infantry there. If you notice, Uther's just charged his cavalry in there on that in the front there, and he's routed a lot of the enemy units there. Nice cavalry hit there by Uther. Meanwhile, on our right here, as you've seen earlier, we've managed to rout most of the enemy Brutii Roman army there, and are just kind of also fighting the enemy Scipio infantry that have been sent over to help as well. So it's quite scrappy here. Let's just pause the game for a second, take stock of exactly what's happening. Remember, the enemy on this right are the blue Scipii and the green Brutii, and our team are the purple SBQRs there. Just so when you look at the battlefield, you can actually at a glance see exactly what's happening there. Meanwhile, over here in the front and on our left, as you can see, Uther's units now are turning to face not just the Scipii army, but the enemy Julii army that is aggressively attacking us at this time as well. So there's a lot of action going on all over the battlefield at the moment. As you can see, that enemy Julii force is really attacking aggressively onto my forward units there, and also Uther's got some of his units there as well. I think from what I can see, the enemy Julii general there is trying to just almost steamroller my army, trying to punch a hole through it there. So I just hope that my army will be able to hold against such an aggressive attack there by the Julii general. As you can see, Uther's also got units involved in the battle there against the the enemy Julii general. There's also several of the enemy Brutii cavalry out the behind us as well. We're just trying to mop up at the moment. Right, if you notice, I brought some of my units around the flank. Probably we'll bring units around the rear as well of the enemy Julii army there. You can see we're gradually moving around there.
His men know their doom approaches.
But as I said, at the back of our of that flank there, we're still fighting some of the Brutii and some of the enemy Scipii units there as well. Right, if you notice, I'm taking my cavalry on through my own fighting infantry into the front of those engaged enemy Julii infantry there. I was hoping to be able to rout some of that infantry, but as you can see there, my cavalry, which is very battle depleted, didn't do what I was hoping for, and as I said, to rout some of the Julii infantry there. Right, let's pause the game for a second to take stock of exactly what's happening. As you can see, most of the enemy Brutii and Scipii army has been routed now, and we are now fighting mostly the enemy Julii infantry. If you notice, I've moved units around the rear and the flank of that Julii army there, with a view to try and pin it there, because the morale in RTW is that if that army feels that it's getting surrounded, the morale will start to drop on those units and we might even get a mass rout. So if my ally can get some units in behind that Julii army as well, plus our cavalry, then you know, we may have a mass rout possibly here. If you notice here, with my cavalry, I'm charging in from the flank, once again with a view to try and rout some of that Julii infantry. But if you notice, that Julii infantry is really standing strong. Well done to the Julii general there. His army is holding extremely well, bearing in mind the cavalry hits is taken, plus the infantry attack that we're putting in at the front as well, and also from the side and the rear there. If you notice, the Julii general has turned a couple of units to face his rear there, to be able to meet the attack that we're trying to get into the rear of his units there. If you notice there, Sith Lord's brought his infantry general round and is attacking the rear of the enemy Julii army there. Let's just pause the game for a second, take stock of exactly what's happened. As you can see, we're gradually trying to surround this Julii army here. I think on 3 sides now we've got SBQR units. And over on this last side here, if you notice that Sith Lord is moving some more SBQR units in behind that Julii army. And as I say, as we gradually close that the vice on them kind of thing, then their morale in that Julii army will start to drop. So let's see what happens next there. Right, as you can see, that Julii army is almost totally surrounded now, and as I say, their morale will be dropping. As you can see, I've got a few depleted, battle depleted cavalry units I'm charging in. and maybe, you know, that Juliet army's morale was so low, and they've been fighting for so long now that and their morale, as I say, would have been so low that that has caused a mass rout of that Juliet army there. If you notice now, can you see the Juliet army is basically completely surrounded there by our purple SBQR units there. Remember, new players watching this, if you can actually surround an enemy's army, the morale of that army will start to drop dramatically. And if you hit it with a cavalry attack, then usually you can prompt a mass rout. And as you can see here, that's that's kind of what's happened here. And it looks like our our team's managed to go on and won this battle. Right, first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. Really well played to the enemy team there. Nice aggressive attacking moves by you guys. Well played there. It was nice to see aggressive tactics by you guys, and well done to Uther and Sith Lord. I thought the tactics and the way they played the battle was extremely good there. If you notice that if you look at HOS Zero's men remaining, you'll see he's only got 20 men remaining. And the reason for that is because, if you notice, we surrounded his army and none of his units had a chance to escape, so they fought to the death and they were all killed, apart from the 20 that were probably routed earlier in the battle, and that's why they were able to to be counted. But the vast majority were killed in that when we surrounded that army there. That's why there's only 20 men left there. I thought, bearing in mind that Sith Lord hasn't played for about 8 years, I thought his tactics were still pretty good in the game, getting units in behind the enemy team. If you notice, a lot of the time there, that was very good tactics by Sith Lord there. And well done to Uther as well. I noticed some really good tactics, some nice aggressive cavalry hits, and some nice subtle tactical infantry moves as well. So really well done to Uther and Sith Lord. And as I said, Terrible Turk and Gladius and HOS Zero, really well played you guys too. This Spartan Commander saying, if you enjoyed this battle, please subscribe to our channel. Always nice to have new subscribers. I'm glad you enjoyed the battle. Look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.